So I wasn't going to focus on how to actually get the door panel off, because there are several videos on YouTube on how to do that. But I will give you a couple of my notes. I found that it was much easier to do it down here, near the speaker first, and then work your way towards the rear of the car, and then back up. And then obviously you can come over here and pop over here behind this glove box, that side off. But yeah, down next to the speaker was where I started, and I found it a little easier. There's videos on how to get this thing off. If you're struggling, it's very easy. So if you're struggling, you're doing it wrong. I did struggle a little bit at first and thought I needed to like disassemble the wire or this plastic piece off of here. It literally just kind of pops off. But you can find, you should be able to find videos on how to get that guy off. This is the finished product. It's the fabric I chose. This is a little dirty because this actually wasn't reupholstered yet. I'm not happy with this thing. This is just a preliminary. I was trying things. It's got white underneath the black, so you can actually see some of the white in the crevice, which is why I'm not happy with it. This edge was redone twice. It's got a little, anyway, yeah, so that whole thing is getting redone. It was preliminary test run. It's a good time to do puddle lights while the door's off. So yeah, I recommend that. But yeah, I really just wanted to kind of say that, again, the speaker, work your way back up, grab this side on the inside, and then the whole thing kind of tilts out and folds off. And then you can get the door handle off. For these multi-ball melted ones, what I'm doing is I'm just using a mallet, whacking this thing under here, and then you can kind of bend them up, and you are, as you can see, it's hard with one hand, but yeah, they just pop right off. You want to keep all these little bits, and then you can just lay them back on top, and we're going to remelt them on when we're done. So I managed to lose the footage of taking off the circle bits as well as putting it back together. I used a soldering iron and this little paint tool to heat up the plastic bits and then smash these things down. This piece over here, same thing in this corner, and this whole thing is plastic, so it kind of helps. You can just kind of remelt this piece in its entirety back on there. There's a circle bit that was remelted back on top. These you can just kind of insert the soldering iron into the holes, and then I kind of grab some of the edge around of each of the circles to remelt it. I mean, it is solid. It's on there. It's on there harder than it was from OEM. Just don't poke it all the way through because your fabric is obviously on the other side of this. Here are some of the circle bits. You will need a mallet and a chisel to pop those off. It's the easiest way. Putting the chisel up sideways and then whacking them off, and then you'll just literally, that whole circle piece will come off. You may have to break a little bit of the fiberglass. You can see like there's some small damage in some areas there, but it doesn't. You won't break through the structure around it. And then just use little bits of the plastic that you saved. It is a long and tedious process, but you can remelt it back on top. This piece here is glued. If you get a little poker, you can put a poker inside of these pieces, and you just want to kind of lift them slightly, and you can see the chisel could help here a little bit to kind of just break up some of the glue, and then these two pieces will fold away And you kind of just work the tabs out once obviously all the plastic's out. And those two screws right there are out. When you go to put them back in, I haven't actually done this piece yet, but see, this piece is not re-glued. It's super secure. It's not going anywhere. But if you're like me and you want to do overkill, you just take a little bit of super glue, and I'm going to be putting a little bit of super glue back onto these tabs and pressing them down. Hack trick is to use a little baking soda and sprinkle baking soda on top of the super glue, and that makes it immediately dry, so you don't have to like hold it there the whole time while it's drying. But that'll re-engage some of the glue there. So this is the soldering iron that I used to melt the plastic back on. About 340 degrees was what I set this guy to. I found 340, 330, 350 right in there is kind of the best number. You can play with it, but if you go below that 330 mark, it tended to get real stringy after you'd sit here and kind of like melt the plastic down on these edges, and you'd go to lift it and you'd get the string that would follow you. If it was a little hotter, around, like I said, around 340 degrees is what I did these at, then when, I mean, you can see that there's, this is after both doors, it's got melted plastic all over it. But yeah, it tended to want to stay where it was. You might get a little buildup here on the actual needle part, to which case I used that little paint can opener I had, that you've seen, and kind of would scrape some of it off occasionally. But it tended to want to stay where you put it and actually just melt at around, like I said, 340 degrees.
Reminder, ask Carol to dye his hair. Orange is the color of the clown. No, strike that. The clown is a clown.
Annual survey of associates came out. Pearson Hardman ranked second to last in quality of life.
Who beat us?
Lewis, I know you take great pride in making the associates' lives miserable.
Well, I did until the survey said that I was second best out.